Since we have our UI ready for the tweet generator, we will now create the API for it, and let's go to pages, and inside pages go to API, and just where we have the chatbot, create another file and let's call it tweet generator. Inside this file we will now create our handler, and it would be an async handler. And we will give it a name of tweet generator. It will receive two arguments, first is request and second is response. And now we will handle the post request only, since we will be passing on our prompt message to this handler. So let's do that. So only if the method is post type, we will be handling the request. Also we'll need to import Next.js, which we have installed in our initial video. So let's import it from Next.js. We'll also create some constant HTTP headers in order to pass our authentication token. Let's call it HTTP configuration. And inside this HTTP configuration, we will be having one field called headers. It will now have two key value pairs. First is content type, which would be of type application JSON. Other would be the authorization field that we have in our previous video as well. For the fetch request, we'll be using similar field over here as well, which is process.environment env.our OpenAI secret. Let's save this, and inside this post we'll create a try catch block. Let's format this. Inside our try block, we'll create a constant for handling the response of our Next.js request. We'll be using await Next.js.post. This will now receive three arguments. First is the URL where we will be sending our request. Second would be the data that we will be sending to our post request, and the third would be the HTTP configuration header. Let's first pass the HTTP configuration headers, since we already have them ready. In the second argument, we'll be passing the request data, but we'll be modifying it first. So let's do that as well. Inside our try block itself, let's create a constant called request data, which would be an object. It will now have two fields. First is the prompt, and this prompt will have the tweet that we will be sending from our front-end client, as well as the prompt that we will be generating for the ChatGPT. And to generate the ChatGPT prompt, I have written a string that you can use right now, and it will return you the next tweet generated. We'll be using a dynamic string over here, so let's add the tilt over here, and inside this I'll be adding my string for the prompt. So this is the prompt that I've written. I'll be writing this is a user's last tweet, which we will be receiving from our front-end client. This is the request body, and inside this request body we will be receiving a property of type tweet. And if the user's last tweet is this, based on the last tweet, generate the next tweet. This is the command that we are sending to our ChatGPT OpenAI. So let's pass this request data to the parameter that we have for our Next.js post request, and for that we have this OpenAI URL, which you can find on the official website of OpenAI platform. And we have a model over here, which is text DaVinci 003. This model will help us generate the next tweet based on the previous tweet. This is a type of engine for ChatGPT model, and this is the exact API that you have to use for now as of the time in 2023 according to the official documentation. And if there is a change to this, I'll update this anytime in the course duration. So once we have our API where we need to send our tweet and the model as well, we'll be using this OpenAI URL to send our request in Next.js. Let's do that. Format our code. So we have these three parameters ready: OpenAI URL, request data, as well as HTTP configuration, which has the OpenAI secret. One more thing, we need to enclose this into single quotes. Let's save this. If this is not enclosed in the quotes, it would give you an error of 401. Once we have the response, we'll send this response to the client by using response.firstofall_status. We'll be sending a status of 200, as well as we'll be returning the JSON format data. It will have two properties. First is the data that we'll be sending, which would come from response.data. Inside this we will be having an array of choices. We'll give it choice of first, which is at the 0 index, as well as the text from that choice. Second field would be success, which would be true in this case, so we'll be sending success true. Let's format this code. We'll copy this response, and inside our error for the catch block we'll be sending the status of 400 and we'll be returning the data as error. Also we'll change the success method to false since we are not getting a successful response. Let's save this, fix this code over here again. Now on our client side we need to send this tweet data and hit this API in order to generate the next tweet. So let's do that now. Close this file, go back to our tweet generator.js on the pages file, and over here where we are submitting the data we will again import Axios. And inside this method we'll use Axios.post, and we'll hit the API for tweet generator, which is API/tweet generator. And we will send an object, and inside this object we will have a property called tweet, which we will be receiving at our server endpoint, and this would contain the previous tweet. So once this is sent we will call the then method. It will receive a response. Also we will handle the catch to handle the error. Let's log this for now and send the request if we are able to successfully send and receive the data. Let's save this, and we will now start our server. And over here right now we will go to tweet generator directly. We will open our inspect element and check the console. I'll be writing a tweet from my previous tweets. So over here I'll be copying one of my tweets and pasting it over here. And now let's send this message to our backend. So you can see that it has generated the next tweet. We will expand it, and it says that it's a cycle that's hard to break, but I am determined. So let's show this message somewhere on our UI, and we'll do that by getting back to our code, and we'll be setting the next tweet over here. It will have response data. Also we have one more property inside it, which is data. We'll set that and save this. We'll also set the previous tweet to empty string. So right now if I write my previous tweet over here and click on generate, it shows the next tweet, but you can see that it's not complete tweet. So let's fix that by getting back to our server code, and over here where we are sending our request data along with the prompt, we will add one more field which is called max tokens, and we will add it 1000 so that it can handle at least 1000 tokens. Let's save this and stop our server, restart it again. Now if I get back to my UI and paste my previous tweet and click on generate, you'll see that it shows complete tweet and it seems nice to me, as well as it has given me an hashtag which seems really nice. So in this way you can generate the next tweet based on your previous tweet. Also you can send multiple tweets instead of just one, and based on many previous tweets you will be given the next tweet that you should share on your Twitter timeline. That's really good, and we are almost done with this video. Let's try out by generating some more tweets, and if I copy one of my previous tweet and add it over here, click on generate. So it shows me the fourth point that I can tweet now, which is not exactly what I need, but it's something that I can use by modifying it to some extent. Also for now we cannot navigate in our application by using the top menus, so let's add that as well. In order to do that, let's go to our container. Under header we have this link over here, so we'll import the link from next link. And we will wrap a span under this link. And on this link we'll give it href property, which will be a link where we want to redirect, and that would be slash for our home page, as well as we will be passing the href property, which will be true, so that if someone clicks on the span, it is still able to redirect it to the home page. Similarly, we will create another link for our tweet generator. So let's copy this and paste it over here. We'll name it tweet generator. And we will change the link from home page to tweet generator. And save this. And now if we get back to our UI, we can go to the home page by clicking on home, as well as we can go to the tweet generator by clicking on the respective links. So in order to do that, let's get back to our Visual Studio Code. And over here, first let's remove the active class from all the pages, and we'll only use this on the tab that is active. We'll be using router from Next router. So let's use it over here. We'll import the router from Next router. If it's not imported automatically, you can import it using Next router. And once this is done, we'll be using path name property from it. So router.pathname will give us the current path. We'll be using this path to make a comparison in our link, that if the active link is equals to the link in the tab, we'll be showing the active class over there. So let's change this nav link from this way to a dynamic string, and we'll make a comparison over here by adding a plus. We'll check if the current path is equal to the path for this tab. In that case, let's enclose this inside brackets. If that's the case, we'll show active class over here. We'll give it space active so that it doesn't sticks with the class name that's there before it. And if that's not the case, we will just return an empty string. Similarly, we'll use this class name property for our tweet generator. Let's save this and confirm if the implementation is done on our UI. We also have one important information missing, which is we need to add the tweet generator text in the comparison for the tweet generator, so that only when the current path name is equal to tweet generator, the active class will be applied to the tweet generator. Now if we get back to our UI, you can see that if the home page is selected, home becomes active, and if we go to tweet generator, the active class is applied to the tweet generator text. This looks really good, and we are good to start up with our next project. So let's proceed with that. See you in the next video.